break the barrier.
We now welcome Kyle Mywaart to the sports desk. Kyle, I hear the volleyball team is set to open its season against the Sheridan Bruins this weekend. How's the team looking thus far?
Thanks, Andrew. The team is looking strong so far. Now this year they do have a smaller squad. They only have 9 guys. You obviously need 7 to play volleyball, so that is a small team, and they'll need to avoid injury if they want to do well this year. With a team that small, you can't afford to be losing guys to physical ailments. That said, they are a strong team, and I think they can look to improve on their 7th place finish in the Western Conference last year. Top 6 teams make the playoffs, and I think they'll be pushing for that. They're actually traveling out of town this weekend. They had a strong exhibition showing, and team morale is sky high. Now they'll start their OCAA action as they travel to Oakville to battle the Sheridan Bruins. Then the team will travel the next day to take on the Niagara Knights. As Greg Samus reports, the team is optimistic entering the season of play.
The Canadore College Panthers varsity volleyball team's season will kick off this weekend as they take on a strong team in Sheridan. The Panthers are coming off a fairly successful exhibition tournament, and Dan Trudell says how he thought the team looked and how well they played as a team.
The team looked good for the first tournament. Lots of expectations were there, and our rookies did meet them. Also, our returning players did what they had to do. So we ended up with second, lost to George Brown twice. Beatable team, so we'll get them later.
Canadore's successful exhibition tournament really helps raise the team's motivation, as it has been years since the Canadore College volleyball team has made it to the finals. The road is not easy for them, but with high hopes and hard work and practices, they should be able to make a splash this season. Head coach Tim Ryan talks about the road up ahead.
Well, I think Sheridan's always been a force in the province. They've one of the only Ontario teams that have won national medals out of Ontario. So I expect that they're going to be a well-coached, large team. They're the team that's going to be hosting OCAAs this year, so they're gearing up for it. So they've added a lot of talent and a lot of size. So our team's just going to have to play scrappy and work hard against Sheridan this year.
Canadore College will have their first look at the regular season as they take on Sheridan this weekend. For Canadore Newsnet, I'm Greg Samus.
The NBA season got underway last night. This is coming after last year where the league was locked out for the first half of the year. Let's take a look at some of the results from last night's action. The newly rebuilt LA Lakers lost in an upset to Dallas. The Lakers boast a strong offense with Kobe Bryant, Steve Nash, Dwight Howard, and Pau Gasol, but were still unable to overcome the Mavericks as they lost 99-91. The big three of the Miami Heat had a strong showing as they beat out the Boston Celtics last night in a rematch from last year's Eastern Conference Finals. LeBron James, Chris Bosh, and Dwayne Wade combined for 74 of Miami's 120 points as they beat the Celtics 120-107. LeBron James had to leave the game in the fourth quarter due to leg cramps, but is expected to be given the green light for next game on November 2nd when the Heat will take on the New York Knicks. And the third ticket in the league was Cleveland against Washington. The Wizards had a poor offensive showing, shooting only 36% from inside the three-point line compared to the Cavs' 46%. They were also out-rebounded 54-30, which allowed the Cavaliers to triumph 94-84. The North Bay Trappers took to the ice last night in the 15th game of the NOJHL regular season. Let's take a look at highlights. First period, Trappers power play. Brennan Dubchuk gets a nice one-timer on a great passing play, which makes it 1-0 Trappers. Moving on to the second period, the Sudbury Nickel Barons are now on the power play, and Andre Comtois tips in shot by Evan Purcell past Greg Dodds is now 1-1. Greg Dodds is the top goalie in the league right now with 10 wins, 1 shutout. He leads save percentage and is second in goals against. 15 seconds later, that's Sam Blanchette jams home a rebound. It's 3-1 Trappers. That's his 7th goal of the year. And just over a minute later, Blanchette again banks one off Sudbury goalie Alex Leno. It's now 4-1, and that's his 8th goal of the year. The Trappers continue to pour it on as Tate Sagan blasts this one home. It's going to be his 6th goal of the year. And his 2nd of the night as the Trappers thump the Nickel Barons 8-1. The Trappers sit now just 3 points behind the Sioux Thunderbirds with a game in hand. That's good enough for 2nd place in the NOJHL. Now it's time for today's trivia. With the NBA back underway, who is the player to score the most points in a single NBA game? Now I know it's a tough question, so I'll give you a few options to choose from. We have Kobe Bryant, Michael Jordan, Wilt Chamberlain or the ever-famous Shaquille O'Neal? Any thoughts, Andrew?
Well, Kyle, I'm going to have to go with Colby Bryant on that one.
That is a good choice, but it's not the correct one. Colby has 81 points, which he got back in 2006 against the Toronto Raptors. But that's not good enough to compare to Wilt Chamberlain's 100 points that he scored in 1962. Now, even though Wilt Chamberlain has less points than Jordan in his career, he still is the only NBA player to ever reach the 3-digit marker in a single game.
Interesting. Thanks, Kyle. Coming up after the break, we chat with the assistant operations manager at the Wall Bar and Grill House.
Welcome back to Canadore Newsnet. We're sitting here today with Courtney Bossert, Assistant Operations Manager at the Wall Bar and Grill House. Thanks for joining us today, Courtney.
It's my pleasure.
With Halloween upon us, what events at the Wall should students expect this week?
Tonight, for Bottoms Up Wednesdays, we have our Halloween 2.0 bash for all ages of students.
And will you guys be having any prizes or giveaways for costumes?
There's a $250 prize for best costume.
Really?
Yes.
And are these events an annual thing, or are they all new this year?
It usually depends on when Halloween falls. So this year it was lucky enough to happen on one of our bar nights during the week, and so we decided that it was best to have it so that all ages could come.
And the Wall was pretty busy this past weekend for Halloween, I'm sure.
Yes.
Do you guys expect the same numbers tonight?
It won't be the same numbers as it was on Halloween because Halloween's one of our busiest nights of the year. So to have that many people come through on a school day would not be.
Do you find it's difficult to promote Wall events throughout the week?
Not particularly. We have a pretty good marketing team, and our student council staff helps out a lot as well. So we utilize the people that we have and the social media that we have, and usually works out in our favor.
What sort of programming do you guys use to advertise?
We still do handhelds. We think it's most effective in some sort. Also Facebook and Twitter.
Now for the bar nights, what measures are taken by security when you have so many people dressing up? I'm sure some students might take costumes a little too seriously or too far sometimes. Our security staff's pretty well grounded when it comes to that sort of stuff. When there is costumes involved, you take off your mask. You spend more time talking to the people in the line, just if they have their face painted up to a certain extent so that you can kind of get a feel if it is that person or something like that. So you notice that the line lasts a little bit, or is a little bit slower than it would typically be on a normal night. And are there any specific actions that are taken by security when it reaches capacity? It's usually a senior manager that tells us to hold the line. Most people that go to the Wall, they could see that the main floor is where it gets clustered the most. So we usually go to a one in, one out. So when you're at capacity, you wait for the people to come out before you let more people in. I'm sure there's many students who've experienced being kicked out before. So absolutely. Now, what's your specific position at the Wall? I'm the Assistant Operations Manager of Catering and Events. And is this a position you're comfortable with? Absolutely. How long have you been working at the Student Center? 7 years. Really? Yes. And you've stayed at this position the entire time? Nope. I started off working at the variety store, then went on to student council, then Pita Pizza, then Bracebridge, then main campus. So you've had a pretty... I've done it all. Yeah. Yeah. Pretty good time here. What's the most popular night at the Wall usually? Halloween and Country Pub. And I believe there's Country Pub this Friday night? There is Country Pub this Friday night with, and to start off, Country Pub at the Wall tomorrow during lunch hour. We're having Mywaart perform. Country artist in North Bay, own songs, cover songs, and that sort of stuff. Free at the Wall during lunch hour for all ages. So. And with busy bar nights like this, they're so popular, what steps are usually taken to ensure that students are drinking responsibly or getting home safely? Intox. If you're over-intoxicated, you're not allowed in the bar. We also have the Safe Ride Home Bus, better known as the Drunk Bus. And we have a direct line to You Need a Cab, so that
they come up and, you know, are in front of the campus so people can get home safe.
Perfect. And you guys made a pretty big move over the summer, switching your programming a bit. You switched your dinner and a show to Tuesday instead of Wednesday. Why the big move?
It was just, we were analyzing Tuesday nights. We've been doing Tuesday nights for years, and we just wanted something different. Wednesdays is all ages programming, so works out good for the students that want to come out during the week. It's not set in stone that Wednesdays are always going to be Wednesdays. It could be Tuesdays again, but we have to go semester by semester to see if it works out.
All right. Well, thank you so much for being on the show. We really appreciate it. For everyone here at Canadore Newsnet, we wish you the best of luck with all the events this year.
Thank you very much.
To check out other stories and newscasts, visit the .ca or claw.ca. Canadore Newsnet is produced by students in the journalism and television programs. And that's our show for today. I'm Colby Clarke.